Would you like to be somebody who understands where dissatisfaction comes from or what sparks dissatisfaction? Then listen to the end of this video where I explain how your unconscious mind is really the leading force, and if you don't listen to it, it will communicate to you that you're doing something wrong, and we really don't have much bargaining power consciously in order to negotiate with that unconscious mind. We must follow it, or else we sort of pay some price, which is dissatisfaction or some sort of anxiety or kind of negative emotions or just suffering. So before we get into this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, Jungian psychology, and how to reduce suffering in life. Let's get into it. So the classic explanation for where dissatisfaction comes from is very often this equation where happiness equals reality minus expectations. So if reality exceeds your expectations, then you're happy because you didn't expect it to turn out so well. But if your expectations or reality falls short of your expectations, then you're disappointed. I thought it would have gone better. And it's a good equation. It explains some, but it is too rudimentary. It posits the claim that you are consciously in control of how you experience life, but I think that it is incorrect and actually not parallel with the way human nature and human psychology actually works. So this is where dissatisfaction comes from, I think. So your nature has unnegotiable needs. When these needs are deprived, your body communicates that something is wrong through, for example, negative emotions like anxiety or depression. Like, it's a symptom of something. Something's not right, and your body communicates that to you. And on the surface level, these sort of pillars, these sort of unnegotiable needs are something like your health, family and friends, and a purpose. Sort of, people might equate that with a career nowadays, but some aim, something to live for, something that you're working towards, basically. But I think the motive behind why these needs must be fulfilled is far deeper and more spiritual than you actually think, or non-physical than you actually think. Your nature desires these needs to be fulfilled because they seek, or they entail, the ingredients you require to manifest your unconscious potential that is sitting within you, like in your DNA essentially, but is not manifesting itself yet, but it anticipates it to be manifested in the future, in the coming time period. So one reason for why this is the case, you could make the claim that, or the hypothesis that, the species aims to survive, and acting out these things increases your likelihood of survival and also the survival of the species. But that entails formulating, it entails something much more than that. In conclusion, it's about survival, but the road to that survival is far more complex and a valuable experience for the conscious mind, even just to live out. It's awesome. So what it is it entails formulating some sort of knowledge or wisdom about human nature, life, that can help others grow and propel humanity to a new standard of existence. So when you take care of your health, take care of your family and friends, you socialize and have a purpose, an aim in life, something occurs to you, you transform, and your consciousness develops, and you become more sophisticated in your perspectives of life, you become more wise. And what you do then is you formulate consciously, in your consciousness, you have these ideas about what's good and what is suboptimal in life. And you express these because you speak them out. And others hear these ideas and learn from you, and you learn in return. It's like a reciprocal process. And that transforms humanity because your experience is transferred to the minds and the existence of the people around you, and that elevates the group upwards and to a newer level of existing, to a higher standard of well-being, for example. And that is what your unconscious mind is anticipating, sort of very broadly speaking. And so why is this an unnegotiable force? Well, I think one reason for it might be that it is just, we genetically prioritize survival. That's sort of like, it seems as if that is the fundamental force that guides us in life. And, you would say then, okay, well, all the behaviors that support that prioritization, or the success of fulfilling what is prioritized, or the demand that is prioritized, those things would be prioritized in your existence. Those things would be anticipated the most, or you would be called to act out most strongly. And that's one thing. And also another explanation might be of why this is an unnegotiable force is because of the ancient process of evolution. Humans have evolved to survive, and whatever turned out or proved to be successful was ingrained then into humans, and those that did not act it out died off, and those that did survived. And over thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, it's a ancient process, these behaviors became coded into the DNA. And it's interesting, actually, because you think, well, why would it need to be coded into the DNA? Wouldn't humans just be able to learn these things by themselves, and that would be enough to increase their survival rate? But clearly there's the genome, or the humanity as an organism must have noticed that it is not enough for humans to consciously by themselves in their lifetime figure out how to live life. But humans somehow don't have the, I don't know if it's the intelligence or the power of reflection, but it's somehow the humanity as an organism decided that some sort of unconscious drive needs to be implemented into every single human that autonomously gets the human and shifts them towards survival or something good. And it wouldn't be enough to just let humans be born with a blank slate and then just act out life. So that's super interesting. That's a super interesting thought. So, and I think when these needs, these demands, this unnegotiable force is fulfilled, you overcome the dissatisfaction produced by your unconscious mind. The thing is, I don't quite know where the dissatisfaction comes from that people experience if they have fulfilled their needs. So, the suspicion would be, like a lack of gratitude. I think, if you're not grateful, you don't realize the things you have in life, the possessions, the things that make your life easier, these really valuable categories or valuable assets in your life. And that's, if you're not grateful, then you're dissatisfied. You always want more, and you don't realize what you have. Another thing, but that also indicates a form of dissociation because you're not aligned with the nature of reality. You're not seeing that you actually are not entitled to these possessions, and these possessions might be taken away from you very quickly. So you're kind of, you have become a bit hubristic. You're sort of, you're not grounded. Your feet aren't on the ground, and therefore you're not aligned with the structure of reality, the nature of life, really. So that's also kind of unhealthy. So I think, well, if you're dissociated, you're probably also not aligning yourself with your unconscious mind and what it needs. So you wouldn't have had fulfilled what your unconscious mind demands. So what I conclude out of that is that fulfilling the demands or acting out what your unconscious mind anticipates for you is a never-ending process. So perhaps in practical terms for humans, their dissatisfaction is a product of not attending themselves to the anticipations of their own nature, of their unconscious mind. So it's actually, dissatisfaction is always potentially a consequence of not aligning yourself with your nature. It's not a suboptimal thought process or not being grateful enough. Like that is a surface level symptom, yet the underlying cause or the root of why that is happening is because you're not attending yourself to your unconscious mind. And just to give some examples of how your unconscious mind really is the leading force in your own life is, for example, when you cry. Very often when we cry, it's an involuntary expression. We just can't help but cry. So clearly, for example, if you're watching a sad movie, you kind of like need to hold back the tears, but your body is trying to, your body responds to something in a way that you aren't understanding, you're not conscious of. So there's some part of you that listens and guides you and reacts for you. It sort of decides how you react to things in ways that you aren't aware of. For example, when I ask somebody, what makes you excited? And they might say something, and then you can ask them, okay, why does that make you excited? Like, what's the absolute underlying explanation, argumentation for why that makes you excited? And I think people can reflect a little bit and they'll sort of explain some of it, but it's sort of a very, again, a rudimentary level of explanation. There's so much to that reason why you get excited that you don't understand, for example. And also, what guides your attention? Some things, some books you read mesmerize you and you can't, they're a page turner, whilst other books are not. What determines whether why you can't put this book down and why you're fascinated by it and why other books you are not fascinated by? I can't explain it really. You could say, yeah, well, it's my interest, my personality likes it, but come on, that's just, it's a bit unsophisticated or not, it has a low level of explanatory power, I would say. Anyway, so in conclusion, I think dissatisfaction, on average, for most people, stems from not attending themselves to the desires and what their unconscious mind, what their nature anticipates for them, whether it is, seeking discomfort. Like seeking discomfort is it might be something because your body wants to grow, and you grow by, well, let's say your DNA wants you to grow, and aligned with the science of epigenetics, you can activate and deactivate parts of your genome depending on what kind of environmental stimuli you are subjected to. And if you want to unlock new parts of your DNA and manifest a greater potential, you need to experience that stimuli, and that entails going into new uncomfortable situations, and they're uncomfortable because they are new. You haven't experienced them, it is the unknown. That's just normal. Humans are afraid of the unknown. That's an example. Yeah. So please leave a comment below whether you think there are any other explanations for dissatisfaction or like really underlying explanations for dissatisfaction in humans. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, Jungian psychology, and how to reduce suffering in life. Thank you for listening.